Okay, so I'm a teenager living in France. I'm going to some French high school and hanging out with these guys. Check this out. Can you imagine a better rogues gallery of disaffected French youth? It's awesome. Anyway, one evening, the family that I'm living with, they served me this amazing dinner, and it's this gorgeous piece of steak, juicy, savory, everything you're looking for in a nice steak dinner. And I'm eating it with gusto. I'm really enjoying it, and they're kind of looking and smiling and giggling just a little bit. I don't really notice, but after a while, I'm like, wow, this is really good. What is it? And they finally fess up and say, well, it's horse. That's right. This American kid who grew up on Clint Eastwood and John Wayne just enjoyed a really nice horse steak. So, eating horse, is that wrong? Is that right? Is it okay? What's the deal? Well, it really depends on what kind of question we're asking. Are we asking about a fact or an opinion or a belief? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to discuss the difference between facts, opinions, and beliefs and see how they drive our perception of what we do and why we do it. What could go wrong? Okay, so let's gird our loins and get right into this. First, let's talk facts. A fact is something which has been observed, measured, and proven to be true by means of the scientific method. Now, this means that facts are objective, which means they're not really interested in our own personal feelings or preferences. For example, human beings have evolved to be omnivores, which means we can eat both meat and vegetation. And the best observable evidence we have of this is our teeth. They can rip and gnaw and tear, everything you need to, really get down on a piece of meat. But then again, we also have molars, so we can grind and chew vegetation. And this is pretty much what omnivores do, meat and vegetation. On the other hand, it's also a fact that beef, and by extension horse, is a rather inefficient use of calories. This means that it takes a lot more caloric energy, many more calories, to produce beef than we actually get from the beef itself. So yeah, the facts say we can eat meat, but it also says it's not terribly efficient. Now the thing about facts is that they're amoral, which is to say they're neither good nor bad, they just are. So this means the moral question of eating horse is not a factual question. Facts don't care about the moral value of a question. They're just concerned about what can be observed, measured, and proven. Okay, so these are facts, but then what about opinion? An opinion is a subjective judgment we hold about something based on how we perceive the facts. In the case of meat, some people can't imagine life without it. Others are like, I could take it or leave it. Some people really don't like to prepare it. It's all gross and slimy and so forth. Others are like, hell, I field dress game. That's not a big deal. Some are like, wow, that's way too expensive for my taste. $10 a pound, not going to happen. Others are like, $10? Pound of good meat? No, I can do that. Yeah, no issue at all. These are subjective opinions. They're value judgments. Whether or not we like something or don't like something, enjoy it, don't enjoy it, all completely subjective and up to the individual to decide how they feel about something. Sure, they're looking at facts, but they're interpreting the facts through their value judgments. Is it slimy? Well, that depends on what slimy means to you. Is it expensive? Well, what does expensive mean to you? They're all just subjective value statements, and that's what makes them opinions. And because they're personal value judgments, they're not really subject to the idea of right and wrong. When somebody says they don't like the taste of horse, you can't say, oh, you're wrong. Now, you can disagree, but that doesn't make one right and the other wrong. It's all subjective. By contrast, Facts are objective, not subjective. This means that, yeah, you can like meat, you can love it, but that doesn't change the fact that it is an inefficient use of calories. On the other hand, you might say, no, I don't like meat. I don't like it at all. That's fine. That's your opinion. But that doesn't change the fact that we have evolved to eat and process meat. Now, this is where facts and opinions intersect. We can look at a fact, such as meat is an inefficient source of calories, but on the other hand, the opinion is, I just really like the taste. I enjoy it. It's something that I enjoy partaking of occasionally, and I'm going to do it. That's just fine. We do not necessarily need our subjective opinions to align perfectly with objective facts, just so long as we understand the two and understand that they're separate. Okay, so that's all well and good, but this brings us to beliefs. A belief is something we embrace as a guiding value, one founded on faith and a deep sense of moral truth. When we say we believe in something, we're saying we have confidence that it is true, that we have faith and embrace it as a personal truth, regardless of what the facts might say. Facts don't enter into this at all. It's a matter of personal faith and belief. Now, in the case of my horse example, some people might say, well, you know what? Meat is murder. I don't eat meat of any sort, no matter where it comes from. I just can't abide the idea of eating another living creature. Someone else might say, well, okay, I don't go that far. I believe in eating meat, but horse, that's beyond the pale. I mean, it's part of our culture. It's part of our cowboy ancestry past. I just can't imagine myself eating, Lone Ranger's silver. Whereas somebody else might say, you know what? Horse, beef, chicken, it's all just meat. It's part of the circle of life. What makes eating one creature, just fine, but another creature awful? It's all good. Furthermore, it's traditional in France, and somebody else might say, I believe that being culturally sensitive is the driving value that I would like to inhabit. And so when in France, eat as the French. When in Rome, do as the Romans. So this is how different beliefs will affect our outlook on the question of eating horse. And as these examples show, belief doesn't really care about facts. They don't really enter into the equation. What's most important is what gives us that deep sense of moral truth. What is the guiding principle that we would like to follow? Furthermore, beliefs aren't really subject to the idea of right and wrong, much like opinions. I mean, you can't really say your guiding principle is wrong, whereas my guiding principle is right. Right and wrong are objective measures, and they are just relegated for facts. Facts are the only things that we can look at and evaluate as right and wrong. When it comes to opinions, and in this case beliefs, no, to each their own. But then that begs the question, what's the difference between an opinion and a belief? Well, it really comes down to how deeply we hold this particular viewpoint and how flexible or malleable it might be. In other words, how open to change is it? Now, in the case of opinions, they're relatively plastic, malleable, and open to change. By contrast, beliefs are much more dogmatic, which is to say, we accept them as incontrovertibly true. For example, I don't like cuttlefish. I've eaten it a couple of times and no, it does nothing for me. The texture, the taste, it's nasty. That said, I suppose that if I ate it enough, I could eventually develop a taste for it. And so in this case, it's an opinion, one that's open to change. On the other hand, eating whale? No, you don't eat whale. You just don't eat whale. I mean, the very thought of it. Now, you might say, well, now hold on, Lon. If it's okay to eat beef, cow, and it's okay to eat horse, then why isn't it okay to eat whale? Well, because it's not. It's just, I don't even believe you're bringing this up. You don't eat whale. You know what? I'm not even having this conversation. You. That's it. No, I'm done. Eating whale. What do you mean? Who even thinks of eating whale? That's just, what are you going to do? You eat whale, what are you going to eat next? It's just disgusting. Killing. Wow. Murder. Yeah, so. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's a research vessel. Just a research vessel. We know. So here's the thing. You're opinions, they're really open to change, whereas beliefs, they're pretty set. They are what we call dogmatic. We have accepted them as incontrovertibly true, not open to debate, not open to discussion. And it's this idea of dogma, accepting something as incontrovertibly true, that we're going to discuss in our next video, so I hope you stick around for that one. So there you are, the difference between a fact, an opinion, and a belief. Make sure you know the difference. It really does matter, okay? So until we see you next time, have a fantastic day. I don't know quite how to bring this up, but do you realize that there are people on this earth who could very well live their whole lives and pass on without ever having watched one of my videos? I know, it's not something we want to think about, but it's important. The good news is you're not powerless in this tragedy. Tell your friends and family, your coworkers, people on the street. Tell them about nutshell brainery and make a difference. We'll see you later.